Greetings gamers, ex-gamers and friends and family of gamers. It's day 12 of Game Free January and so far no withdrawal symptoms, unless you count that very weird dream I had about complex numbers as restless, unfulfilling and taunting dreams. It was only one dream and only occurred just before I woke up. Yesterday I had no restless, unfulfilling or taunting dreams. In fact, I slept extremely well and woke refreshed. Again, despite being surrounded by potential triggers, I felt absolutely no temptation to gain whatsoever. Yesterday we looked at genetics and discovered that genetics seems to be by far the greatest risk factor in determining whether or not a person is going to develop an addiction. Today I want to look at age as a risk factor. PsychCentral.com reports that a study of 2,300 patients aged from 17 to 86 revealed a tendency for increased gambling in the age 17 to 35 years age bracket, followed by a decrease in gambling from ages 36 to 54, and then an increase again in the age bracket 55 to 86. The reasons for gambling vary, with younger gamblers aged 17 to 35 being drawn to gambling addiction out of impulsivity and sensation seeking and are gambling in a spirit of competitiveness, whereas older gamblers tend to be drawn to gambling as a means of mitigating anxiety and excessive worrying and are fleeing from loneliness, dissatisfaction or even physical pain. The study also observes that in the age bracket where there are fewer instances of gambling addiction, that is to say between age 36 to 54, there is a stronger sense of self-direction and a greater sense of being in control over one's own life. It seems to indicate that there is an inverse correlation between how in control of our lives we feel and our vulnerability to addiction. This conclusion is borne out by other studies. According to the US National Library of Medicine National Institute for Health, the average or mean age for quitting smoking is 40.0. The greatest levels of successful quitting occurred in adults aged 25 to 44. According to the Alcohol Rehab Guide by the Delphi Behavioural Health Group, alcohol consumption in older adults has grown steadily over the past couple of decades, with increasing numbers of people aged over 50 suffering from substance use disorders. Some of the reasons given why older people are turning to substance abuse include empty nest syndrome, when children grow up and move away, loss of friendships due to moves, health complications or death, deteriorating health conditions including cardiovascular disease, vision or hearing loss or diabetes, traumatic events like a spouse's illness or death, sadness after downsizing a home, boredom from retirement or lack of socialization. The website goes on to acknowledge that it is sometimes difficult to diagnose substance abuse in seniors due to the warning signs of alcoholism being mistaken for other mental health problems. According to the Drug and Alcohol Rehab in Thailand website, there are 5 categories of alcoholism referred to as subtypes, and are namely the young adult subtype, the young antisocial subtype, the functional subtype, the intermediate familial subtype, and the chronic severe subtype, with the young adult subtype making up the majority of alcoholics. This group is mainly comprised of children leaving home and experiencing alcohol for the first time. They are most likely to engage in risky behaviour such as binging, spurred on by lack of impulse control, combined with peer pressure and social anxieties. The second subtype is the young antisocial subtype, consisting mainly of alcoholics with some kind of antisocial personality disorder who are on average 26 years old, who start drinking around age 15 and become alcoholics by around age 18. They are also more likely to have other addictions as comorbidities. Since the young antisocial subtype do not overlap with the young adult subtype, the two groups combined mean that around 53% of all alcoholics in the United States are young people with the chronic severe subtype that most people visualize when they think of the word alcoholic, making up the smallest minority of alcoholics. According to Bing, a survey conducted by the National Institute on Alcohol Abuse and Alcoholism found that young adults between the ages of 18 and 24 were most likely to have both alcohol use disorders and other drug addictions. We have already seen in previous videos how addiction can damage the impulse control mechanisms of the brain, but in the very young, the part of the brain responsible for impulse control is already underdeveloped. Addiction can affect anybody at any age, but the age at which you are first exposed to an addictive substance or behaviour pattern affects how likely you are to develop an addiction and the severity of that addiction. If video games are even half as addictive as the media hype would have us believe, it's not surprising that parents become concerned when they see worrying signs of video game disorder in children as young as 12 years old. Reassurances that between 95% and 99% of all gamers don't go on to develop problem gaming, let alone gaming addiction, will likely fall on deaf ears. What if my child is in that 5% or 1% category? If you feel your child might be in that 1% or 5%, why not calmly and non-judgmentally explain the reason for your fears and encourage the child to follow along with my challenge so you can both be reassured? And if you feel that you might have a problem with excessive gaming and are worried that you might be developing an addiction, why not follow along or try out this simple test of going game-free for a month? Remember, it can be any month and you don't have to start on the 1st. Why not post a comment and let me know how you're doing? And don't forget to hit that subscribe button. But as for me, Big Fat Hairy 11 Days and Counting Non-Gamer, I look forward to seeing you in another video.